Next speaker is going to be Reo Māori from New Zealand, talking about improving the New Zealand English and Reo Māori digit triplet test using antiphasic stimuli.
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Reo Māori. I'm from the University of Canterbury in Christchurch in New Zealand, and today I'm talking about recent work done with my students Rosalie Hadley, James Dawson and Tanya Neem to improve the New Zealand English and Māori language digit triplet test using antiphasic stimuli. So as you're no doubt aware, the digit triplet test, or DTT, is a test of speech comprehension in noise. And sitting at the back, I think, is Kaz Smits, and he and his colleagues developed a telephone version of the Dutch DTT in 2004, and versions of this test have been created in many languages over the last 20 years. And because of the customised speech noise used in each test, performance is not greatly affected by absolute signal level or transducer bandwidth within reason, but it is sensitive to sensory neural hearing loss. And with the introduction of antiphasic stimuli more recently, it's also sensitive to asymmetric and conductive hearing losses. So we first created a New Zealand English version of the DTT in 2011, and it sounds like this. And you enter 3, 9 and 1. And the following year, in 2012, we followed it up with the Māori language version, Te Whakamātautau, Whakarongo o Aotearoa, and it sounds like this. And you enter Kore, Iwa and Rima. And as far as we know, the Māori language DTT was the first produced in a non-European Indigenous language, the first Indigenous language overall being Welsh. So the New Zealand English version of the test has been freely available for a number of years and was licensed in 2017 to Triton, who are a national hearing aid retailer in the Sonova Group. But although the test is short by pure tone screening standards, it was too long for many people who simply didn't finish it, and particularly if they were screening both ears. And so we were very interested in improving screening outcomes by making the test more rapid. So one solution came in 2020 from the work of Karina de Souza and colleagues, who used antiphasic stimuli in the DTT rather than the speech signals to both ears being in phase as they are in the dyadic presentation mode that you can see here. If you flip the phase in one ear like so, you have antiphasic stimulation, which is treated quite differently by the brain, giving a release from masking. And so while we might see a pattern of results such as this with dyadic stimulation, with antiphasic stimulation, people with normal hearing in both ears have a much greater advantage. And we see this separation of the normal results from those with unilateral or symmetrical sensory neural or conductive hearing losses, which increases the sensitivity and specificity of the test, halves the test time, because you don't need to test each ear individually. The test is sensitive to the poorer ear rather than the better one. So that was our main aim, to improve the sensitivity and specificity of the New Zealand English and Māori language DTTs using antiphasic stimuli. We also wanted to reduce the test time by testing both ears simultaneously and taking advantage of any improvement in test performance to decrease the number of trials. And a further aim, which I'll discuss at the end, was to investigate the use of digit scoring rather than the standard whole triplet method. But most importantly, we wanted to complete the validation of the Māori version of the digit triplet test in a culturally appropriate manner. And we see this as a vital step in delivering culturally responsive care and improving Māori hearing health outcomes. And it's our small contribution to the revitalisation of the Māori language, particularly in hearing healthcare settings. So as for the methods, for the New Zealand English study, we tested 51 participants with a range of hearing abilities. The DTT was delivered in clinical settings via a laptop with a noise level fixed at 65 dBA. For the Māori language study, we validated the performance of the digit triplet test using what's called kaupapa Māori methodology, which positions Māori at the forefront of the research and the decision-making process. And our paper on this braided rivers approach, weaving Western hearing science and Indigenous knowledge, came out last month. So we tested 99 participants with a range of ages, and instead of carrying out testing solely in the clinic, we used portable, boothless audiometers to test large numbers of people in community settings, such as the marae or Maori meeting house that you can see here. Okay, so to the results. For the New Zealand English DTT with the traditional diotic stimuli, we obtained 87% sensitivity and 97% specificity versus the better ear 4-frequency average. with an excellent area under the curve of 0.98. When we switched to antiphasic stimuli, we obtained an increase in the sensitivity to 95%, with a specificity of 90% against the poorer ear full frequency average, with a similarly excellent area under the curve of 0.92. To the Māori language DTT now, and with traditional diotic stimuli, we found 77% sensitivity and 81% specificity versus the better earfall frequency average with an area under the curve of 0.81. And as with the English version, with antiphasic stimuli, we see an increase in sensitivity to 86% and 87% specificity against the poorer earfall frequency average with an improved area under the curve of 0.87. So we were very happy with that performance overall, and our results agreed well with those obtained by D'Souza and colleagues despite our smaller sample size. So I just want to come back to the other method that we're investigating for improving the precision and reliability of the DTT, and that was the method of scoring that Denise and colleagues found to be beneficial, where the step size is increased in proportion to the number of digits scored correctly rather than the whole triplet. So we investigated this with our New Zealand English DTT, and unfortunately we didn't see any increased reliability when using digit scoring, and we found no significant difference overall in the performance of the two scoring methods. So it's not better, but it's not worse, and perhaps with the larger numbers, our results might have been clearer. We did just have about around 50 people in that cohort. So in conclusion, we're updating the New Zealand hearing screening test to primarily use the antiphasic DTTs for both languages due to the better overall results, the halving of test time, and the better detection of asymmetric and conductive hearing losses. And just before I go, I want to mention that the web app that we designed for these DTTs back in 2012 is available on GitHub under a completely free license. So you can see the customization settings here. You can do any language that you like. It's very customizable. You just need to produce and validate your own stimuli. So if you want, you can download that software from here. So thank you very much.